Thank you very much. Good evening, TEDxSouthampton. You can do better than that. Good evening, TEDxSouthampton. That's more like it. For a minute there, I thought you'd forgotten your fleeting and temporary location-dependent group identity. I'm Chris Paradox, and for the last 2 weeks, I've been sweating and occasionally writing and trying to learn my inspirational talk about my 14-year life experiment of becoming nobody. And then last night, I had an amazing conversation about life, the universe, and everything with our director, Paul. And I had two terrifying realizations. The first one was that the talk that I'd been, compared to the amazing conversation I was having with Paul, the talk that I'd prepared was absolute pants. And so I had to scrap it. And the second realization is that I would have looked like a complete muppet if I'd have given a self-consciously scripted and rehearsed talk about becoming nobody, which is the state of being unself-consciously spontaneous and creative. So, to my relief and terror, I realized that to have a shred of integrity here before you today, I absolutely must freestyle and do the nobody thing and improvise my talk. And so that's what I'm going to do. But the only problem with doing that is that when I tend to talk off the top of my head and tell my story, it lasts for about 2 or 3 hours. And as I can see, I've got 14 minutes and 17 seconds left. So what I thought I'd do is to keep everything structured and tight and to be on time, was deliver you a nobody sandwich. So I've done a sort of semi-scripted intro bit of bread on the top, and then I've got a semi-scripted outro bit of bread for the bottom, and then a big fat meaty slice of improv freestyle off the dome, as my rapper brethren in the United States would say, in the middle. So sort of breaking that down, that means that for the first couple of minutes, I'm going to be telling you what I just told you, and then for the next couple of minutes, I'm going to be telling you about what I'm going to be telling you about after I finish telling you what I'm telling you now. Then fat slice of freestyle inspiration. Then I'm going to do a sort of coherent summary, followed by a compelling call to action, then finishing off with a killer poem, nice round of applause, maybe a standing ovation, take a bow, and then exit stage left. So that's the plan. How's that sound? You with me? Okay, thank you very much. So now I've got to tell you the thing I was going to tell you about after I finished telling you the thing I told you before. It's a profound existential experience of being human that we're all subject to forces beyond our control. Our childhood conditioning, our habits of thought and behavior, our genes, our environment, our culture, our religion, our relationships, our career, the economy, the election, our addictions, our afflictions, and the loss of our loved ones. We like to think that we're in control of our lives, but we're really not. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my contention that becoming nobody is a way to take control of your life by choosing which force beyond your control that's in control of your life. Specifically, the only force beyond your control that is guaranteed to have your best interests at heart. So, the next freestyle bit, which I'm going to go to into a minute, gulp, is going to be my attempt to explain how I came to that contention. So I'm probably going to need your bit of help to go into the freestyle bit because, so I need to sort of tune in. So can you join me in just taking a couple of gentle deep breaths and being still for a moment? Because every great performance that I've ever witnessed or taken part in always reaches a point where the audience and the performer are totally in the moment together. And it's like being in the dream together. And in that moment together, the audience and the performer realize the truth. And the truth is that even though there are a couple of hundred people in this room, nobody's here. And now that nobody's here, I can freestyle. So, for the first 35 years of my life, I've been what you would call my own worst enemy. And by that, I mean I'm the type of person that thinks that they're really smart, but is nowhere near as smart as they think they are. I'm basically mediocre, but I think I'm quite a bit above average. And that kind of makes me what me and my mates would have called me a muppet. I'm a bit of a muppet, basically. I think I'm a lot smarter than I am. So I'm a kind of a mediocre muppet. And that sort of takes the form of making bad decisions, falling into bad habits, self-sabotage, you know, all that kind of thing. And at the age of 35, becoming nobody saved me from all that. Now, I hasten to add, it didn't stop me becoming a mediocre muppet. I'm still a mediocre muppet, and I will always be a mediocre muppet. But being nobody, becoming nobody, made none of that matter. And so somehow, even though I'm a mediocre muppet, when I became nobody 14 years ago, ever since then, I've been living an epic life. And dare I say it, I've become a bit of a legend. So I should really describe how that happened. So, in year 2000, I was running the media buying division of an advertising agency and making tons of profit for my board. So they decided to reward me by promoting me to the board and giving me shares in the company. And they took me to a ridiculously expensive restaurant in Holland Park to celebrate. And it was a big cliche. It was literally 12 middle-aged white men who were all going through their midlife crisis and buying TVRs and Triumph motorbikes. They all took me to the restaurant, and I, being a bit weird, decided that I was going to grab my opportunity to ask these wise men, these captains of industry, why we're all here, what's it all about? And the group of answers that I got were something akin to Littlefinger's "chaos is a ladder" speech from Game of Thrones. It was the darkest, most nihilistic set of answers you could possibly imagine. Nothing means anything, it's dog eat dog, it's kill or be killed, we're all just selfish genes, get what you can while you can. And that left me completely disillusioned because I worked my butt off to become one of the board and become one of these guys, and I realized that they were basically Sith Lords. And I didn't want to be anything like them. And I was haunted by what Lily Tomlin said. Lily Tomlin said, the trouble with the rat race is that even if you win, you're still a rat. And so, to cut a long story short, I became completely disillusioned and allowed them to sack me. Decided that, I read a quote by Mark Twain. Mark Twain said, "The two most important days of your life are the day you were born and the day you find out why." And that was like taking a 10-pound trout to the face, and I realized I actually have to find the meaning of my life, otherwise my life has no meaning. So I ended up giving it all up, 70 grand a year job, expense account, car, marriage, wife left me, all my friends thought I'd gone crazy, and I went to live under a tree in Battersea Park, central London, and sold The Big Issue for 7 months. And the first night I was in the park, I literally stood up, looked at the sky, and said to nobody in particular, see what I did there? "Okay, universe, you've shown me clearly what I'm not supposed to do with my life, but you haven't bothered to show me what I am supposed to do with my life. So I give up. I'm just going to be a bum, and I'm just going to sleep under this tree in this park and sell The Big Issue until you show me what the hell I'm doing here." And after that, I just stripped down to my pants, climbed into my sleeping bag, snuggled up, and said to myself, am I mad? Is this what madness is? You know, like 2 years ago, I was on the board of a successful advertising agency, and now I'm sleeping under a tree. Like, oh my God, this is how you become the mad black guy that lives in the park. Like, this is how it's happening. And somehow I must have fallen asleep, because the next thing I remember was waking up and hearing the most beautiful song I'd ever heard coming from a foot in front of my face. And I opened my eyes, and it was a sparrow singing to me. And I mean singing to me. And the song might as well have been, "Morning has broken." And, I mean, it was like waking up in a Disney cartoon, is all I can say. It's like the sun was dappling through the leaves. I'm a city boy, like who knows that the sun actually dapples? And it was casting rainbows through the dewdrops and all of that. And in that moment, I realized that stripped of all my roles and identities, my masks and costumes and labels, I was just nobody. And nobody, what nobody actually felt like was that there was nothing in the way of me and my super intelligent life force. You know, the thing that beats your heart and digests your food and does all the chemical, enzyme, hormone processes and fires your neurons and basically makes you animated and keeps you alive and you don't have to lift a finger? You know that thing? Is anybody with me? Yes. There was nothing but that. And it just kind of literally, I just felt it coming like that right into, and so I was kind of consciously aware that my super intelligent life force was who I was. And it just meant that everything appeared as if I was the universe in a human suit. Stay with me. Everything in the universe is the universe in a particular form. Is that not true? So you could say the sun is the universe in a sun suit, and the earth is the universe in an earth suit, and a tree is the universe in a tree suit, and an ant is the universe in an ant suit, and you are the universe in a human suit. And I had a profound experience of being the universe in a human suit, and everything I looked at looked beautiful. Everywhere I went, I made people smile, and I had a semi-Eckhart Tolle-like mystic experience living in a park for 7 months. And this particular mystic experience was highly practical because I used it to sell the Big Issue magazine. And before I moved into the park, I sold the Big Issue for about 2 weeks. I sold roughly 5 magazines an hour and made £6 an hour. After I started selling from nobody, as I put it, I was selling 20 magazines an hour and making £60 an hour selling the Big Issue. Cross my heart and hope to die. Which is kind of, you know, that's what people go to college to make £60 an hour. It's 120 grand a year. I was making more money selling the Big Issue than I was at the advertising agency. Loads of other magical, mystical things. People just used to come up to me and say, I love your energy, I love your energy. I can't tell you the whole story. So that was the first gift of being nobody. The next gift was that I'd gone in the park looking for my purpose. And because I was in bliss all the time and sort of contemplating the clouds and hanging out with the squirrels used to follow me around. I was a squirrel whisperer. And I started to write poetry at the age of 35 for the first time in my life. Never had a creative bone in my body. Poetry started pouring out. Would stop people in the park, or if somebody bought a Big Issue, I would give them a poem. And somebody said to me, why don't you go to an open mic? I said, oh, great, I'll go to an open mic. Did an open mic. The first time I stood on a stage like this with a genuine desire to inform, entertain, and inspire people to live more meaningful and authentic lives, the universe answered my question. I found my why. I found my purpose, and that was 14 years ago. I was going to tell you a whole bunch of other funny stuff, but I'm running out of time. So that was the little freestyle bit. Was that okay? Yeah. Okay, great. So now I have to do the coherent summary. So with a nod to Stephen Covey, I've called this the 7 habits of highly nobody people. Number 1, being nobody is simply being honest about who you really are. Being nobody is being the super intelligent life force that animates you and keeps you alive. Number 3, being nobody is simply being the universe in a human suit. Number 4, being nobody is taking control of your life by surrendering to the force that's beyond your control that's already in control of your life. Because your life force is beyond your control, isn't it? You can't control the thing that keeps you alive, can you? You can't, can you? No. So it's a force beyond your control, right? Yeah. But it's the one force that's guaranteed to have your best interests at heart because it's looking after you the whole time. Is that not true? Mm-hmm. So given that we're all victims of forces we can't control, why not choose to be a victim of the force that wants to look after you? I think it's genius. Does anybody else think that's genius? So number 5, being nobody is what artists call the muse, high-level sports people call the zone, brain surgeons and Formula 1 drivers call flow. And was that 5 or 6? I've forgotten now. Oh yeah, number 6, being nobody inspires and empowers you to live a life of purpose, meaning and adventure. And number 7, being nobody is using, this is my favorite, using the magical technology of pure innocence and wonder, because that's what I woke up with in the park, otherwise known as totally unself-conscious, fully absorbed attention and awareness, to make your mundane, everyday life epic. Ooh, Right, I'm going to have to cut the end bit off because I haven't got enough time. I was going to do a 2-minute poem. Have I got time to do a 2-minute poem?
Give him a 2-minute poem.
Thank you very much. Okay, so to try and sum it all up, that's what I've done most of my career, has been putting all that stuff in poetry so that people can enjoy it and hear it and understand it. So I've got a poem that summarizes everything I want to say in my talk, and it's named after the place that nobody comes from. So it's entitled The Indestructible Matrix of Pure Space. See, I, man, just been relaxing in the indestructible matrix of pure space. It have a very nice taste, like coming face to face with grace. Not over here or over there, but all over the place. So I, man, can make haste slowly. And the sense of aloneness don't make me feel lonely. Because I'm an identity totally phony. Holy moly, there is no me. There is only the indestructible matrix of pure space. It's a strangely familiar place. Let's face it, the entire human race is based in it. Bumbleclot if we're not wasting it. What a waste of space. Fancy ignoring the very space that contains us. It's outrageous. And in the case of human evolution, might even be dangerous. There's just too much focus on what might be facing us, and not enough focus on the instantaneous, indestructible matrix of pure space. Analogous to timeless, infinitely spacious awareness, flawless, peerless, fearless, but nothing special in our fairness. Just this unobstructed effortlessness with which we're all blessed. Just rest. How much effort does it take to be aware you're awake? Think carefully before you answer, because the quality of your life is at stake. The indestructible matrix of pure space is closer to you than you are, yet extends beyond the farthest galaxy's farthest star. It coordinates your neurochemistry and it services your car. It is existentially impossible for anything to be on a par. The mental and physical universes support it like a breast supports a bra. And its only philosophical postulate is la, 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 la. The indestructible matrix of pure space. Safe.